Welcome back to the Diagon Podcast, only D&D podcast that cares deeply about hair growth. I'm your Game Master Josiah, and with me as always is my player,
the complicated hair growth individual, William.
And last we left off, I was asking uncomfortable questions about your sleeping rituals, or rather your character's sleeping rituals.
Yeah, I remember this.
So, comes to in the morning, seemingly nothing has changed.
So, he gets off his stomach as we talked about. That's how he typically sleeps.
Because he's horrible.
Yeah. He gets up and he just stretches. He looks at his west-facing window. It should be dark. He gets up and starts doing his morning stretch he likes to do. It's not a fitness thing. It's just more of a he sits too long thing, and he likes to stretch out a little bit.
All right, get stretched out, do that, put on your pre-set clothes, and go to make your breakfast and check your emails.
Before I do that, I do go to the restroom really quick. I want to see that cut on my hand. All right, no, it's on my hand. I don't need to go in the restroom. I look at the cut on my hand.
That'd be funny if, you could only see things on yourself by looking in a mirror, no matter where it was on you.
I'm a reverse vampire.
Yeah, I can only be seen in mirrors.
Okay, so but I look at my hand. How does that look?
It looks like it's healing normally.
Okay.
Still there, but nothing odd about it that you can tell.
Like nothing happened.
All right, so check the cut on your hand. It's healing normally. What's up next?
Yeah, next it will probably be to make his breakfast, and he's going to go ahead and check his emails. He wants to check the forums of Victor Smith to see if anybody said anything about what he posted.
Make a luck roll.
Okay. All right, so I rolled a -1 poor, and my luck is fair. So that puts me at average.
Okay. What details did you put in your posts so far? Do you list out where you are, that kind of stuff?
I'm pretty sure we never brought it up, but do we want to roll reasoning to see if he would?
If you want to, you can.
Okay. So I just rolled average with my reasoning good, so that puts me at great. I'm pretty sure with a great as his role, he would be adding in that kind of detail, and with the cut, I don't think he would have left out the time that he lost. I believe we said 20 minutes.
Somewhere in that range. All right, so you've got some people, they don't have any more information, but there's some people saying oh, I'm going to be in state, so I'm going to make a detour and stop in town and look into this as well.
Do they give a timeline for that, or?
There's a few different people, and none of them are too specific. It's one of those things where they say something that would be clear if you knew their existing schedule. When I'm done with this thing, I'll...
Right, so...
Well, when are you done with that thing?
Right, this could be a week from now, or it could be a month.
Or it could be tomorrow.
Right, exactly.
It's information without any context.
The best kind.
You've got a reply email from Maria just saying, that cut's not very... But I don't think she did reply. I think with something like that, she's kind of whatever about it. You're meeting up anyways.
I was about to say, so we are meeting up regardless.
Yeah, I think Tasha is more interested and it's like, wow, should we team up for the next, whatever, blah, blah, blah. She's more quick to believe that it's actually a ghost or something.
From where the previous episode, he had just told her to start looking into the playground.
Yeah, and she hasn't done anything yet, she says in her
right.
email. So she's sort of getting her stuff together and figuring out. She's probably made some calls to the parents of the kids she's babysat for.
Okay.
But nothing's turned up from that.
Okay. And today is Saturday, right?
Probably.
Or no. No, it's Sunday. It's Sunday because we talked about how for him, he likes to prep his clothes a week in advance, and this was his last set.
Right. That sounds correct.
Okay. So it's Sunday.
You could tell me it's Wednesday, and I'd be like, sure.
Yeah. We try to be consistent in this podcast.
Try being an operative keyword.
Okay. So it's Sunday.
Do you go to church? Because you do know the priest.
Have I talked with the priest? No, right?
Not yet, but I think we brought up that you know him, just because he's kind of a local figure.
Right. Does my dad go to church? Does his caregiving facility take them to go on Sundays?
I'm trying to think how this usually works. There's either a bus that the church would send, or there's a deacon that would go
Yeah,
and give the service there. Either way, your dad doesn't care.
he does not care. Okay.
No, he's not a religious man.
Was my mother?
I think she was, but only for social reasons.
So the priests there would know of his family,
Possibly.
at least a little bit.
Oh, yeah, he'd know the mom, and he would know you, just because as a horror author, you've probably gone to church just for that, and your mom would have dragged you when you were a kid.
Right. Okay. Yeah, let's say that he does go, which would mean that that the clothing that he has picked out for Sunday is actually a little fancy. He likes to show up to church showing God
Sunday best.
his Sunday best.
So go in, pretty normal service. That means you get out around noon. So what are you going to do the rest of the day while you're waiting for your evening meetup with Maria?
Well, I guess before I leave the church, I would like to talk to the priest there, just to kind of tell another person, like, just bounce ideas off of.
What's your approach with this going to be?
I'm going to ask him if he's noticed anything strange with people getting random cuts. I would lead that in with if he's read that article that my acquaintance had wrote about.
Go ahead and make a charisma check.
Okay. My charisma is fair. I got a 0, so that puts me at fair.
Okay, so it says, I read it. I can't say it meant too much to me at the time. Children do tend to accumulate scrapes and cuts. We haven't noticed anything in our Sunday school classes or anything of that nature.
Okay, well, I appreciate you letting me know that you haven't seen anything like that happened. I'll see you next Sunday.
Of course, it's always a pleasure. You leave. Where are you going? Are you just going to wander around? Are you going to try and go back to that area where you got cut? Are you going to try something else entirely?
Is the coffee shop still open?
I think they close on Sundays, just entirely.
You don't think there could potentially be like a surge of people after church going to a coffee shop?
There could be, but I think just the person who runs it is much like Chick-fil-A, just closed on Sundays.
Okay. I guess I will wander around, but try to keep a lookout for Tasha, because I don't know where she would be. And I don't think I have a way of contacting her without getting to a computer.
Right. What areas are you walking around?
I think the park would be where I'd want to walk around for this.
Okay. What did you tell her in the email you sent to her?
I think with her, I'd probably be more likely to tell her pretty much everything as far as I got cut, what I saw when the kid got cut, the time loss. So she pretty much has the information that the blog has as well.
Okay. Make another luck check.
Okay. My luck is fair. I just rolled a poor, so that puts me at average.
All right. So you're wandering around. You don't run into her, but you can sort of tell where she's been just because there's a few things she tends to do when she's ghost hunting. So there's some goop on one of the trees. It's this green stuff that she pours out to try and test for ghosts. You're not sure what it is, and you've asked, but then she just says a bunch of words that mean nothing to you.
Is this something that she made or?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a future scientist in her.
Or a future convict. Who knows? So how long are you doing that? Just until...
Well, how long do you think that would take? Because I feel like that wouldn't be a multi-hour thing.
If you're literally just walking around the park to see if she's there, if you're being really thorough, maybe that's an hour and a half, but...
Well, I guess past that, do you think he would carry everything that he would need to show her? Or do you think he'd have to go back to his place and pick that up?
Totally up to you. I don't know that you have too much to show her yet, because, you got cut. You've sent her the photos that you have, so...
Okay, that's fair. So he wouldn't really need to carry that much with him. Is there another hangout spot in the town that still operates on Sundays?
Like, where there will be people?
What do people like to call a third spot?
Third place. Yeah. You could go to the mall.
Yeah, let's not do that.
My reaction when someone suggests I go to the mall.
Yeah, it's just not. At least back then it was not what it is today.
A ghost town.
Yeah. Well, how much more time does he have left before his meeting with Maria?
Well, you're meeting her around 8.
Oh, okay, way later.
Yeah, she has to get off shift.
Right, right. Well, let's go back to Sunny Shades then. He'll talk with his dad. Or no, you know what? Bookstores, are those open?
Yeah, there'll be a bookstore and the library.
Okay. He wants to pick up at least one of the books that his dad was asking for, one of the Tom Clancy's.
Okay, so go pick up one of those pretty easy. The bookstore keeps that more or less on hand since you're a reliable customer.
Are my books ever like there?
Yeah, you've got a little spot where it's like local writers.
Local? Okay. How's that looking?
About the same as usual, there's usually like a couple have been bought, and then that they have stock in the back, but that they try and make it always look like people are buying some because that encourages people to buy more. So you can always just ask the guy how your sales are.
How are the optics?
Yeah. But in general, you do okay here, but you don't have anything like really new. So most of the people
Okay.
in town that care about your stuff have already bought it.
Okay, so I got the book in hand, and I'm gonna go ahead and head over to Sunny Shades.
All right, you drive over, hand him the book, presumably, and without even turning to like look at you, like you hand him the book, and he just goes, "So you went off on your own, didn't you?"
Well, you do know me, Dad, and the answer to that is yes.
Yep, I can see that cut on your hand.
I'm actually touched, you noticed.
Touched in the head, maybe.
Okay, so I hand him the book, and tell him about the cut. I also tell him about the time loss that I experienced, 20-ish minutes or so of no recollection of what happened and the cut appearing.
All right, make a empathy check for me. This might be our first empathy check. I'm not sure.
I believe so. Okay, my empathy is good. And I rolled a 0, so good.
All right, so you get the impression, one you're not unused to. Your dad is thinking about Vietnam, because that's not too unusual. You're keeping watch, you're checking your time regularly, and then all of a sudden something happens and you realize you've lost about 20, 30 minutes. Only difference is there's no one to beat your ass for that.
Right. A little cut on my hand doesn't justify that.
So that's all he really says about it. Seem to think it's supernatural in any way. Just, you're keeping watch, you lose track of time.
Right, right. Yeah, I'll make sure to add that on a potential character for another book because it is interesting.
And another silent dismissal unless you ask him anything.
I just let him know that later today I'm going to be meeting with the detective Maria to talk about just some of the stuff I've seen. So I'll let you know how that goes.
He nods. You've never gotten a good idea of how he feels about Detective Maria. You've never asked, and he's never told.
What about it is odd that I would...
It's just something to know. It's not odd for you to not know how he feels about people, but something that might interest you.
So he's just indifferent to her as a detective?
As far as you know, he hasn't said anything to you, but he's also doesn't share a lot with you anyways.
Right. Then I say see ya and enjoy the book.
Once again, without saying anything, he turns and opens the book, and that's your cue to leave.
Okay. So are we relatively close to the end of day at this point?
Close enough. By the time because you had to drive all the way out and you'll have to drive all the way back.
Right.
You can always just wait in your car before going into the bar, or you can just go into the bar and pregame. I don't know. Does not Victor Smith? Does Winston Davitsen go hard? I think we all know the answer is no.
No. But he does like to people watch, so perhaps he does go in a little early and just sees how people do.
Gets his one beer that he's going to sip for a painfully long period of time.
Yeah.
Is he a beer guy, or does he have some other drink?
I think he's just a beer guy. He's never been properly drunk. He's kind of just more of a one beer, like you said. And
he just nurses that for way too long, to the point where the beer starts to get skunked.
Yeah.
So you've got that. Your people watching. Make a perception check for your people watching.
Okay. My perception is great. And I rolled an average, so that puts me at superb.
All right. So with superb perception, you pick up a few people are complaining that they also got these minor cuts, more similar to what the barista had
Uh-huh.
when they were going past that construction site.
Huh. Is the barista there by chance?
He is not. He's a little young to go to bars.
Okay, then I'm gonna go over there and with my notebook and I want to essentially interview them about this weird cut that they got.
All right. You better go hard on your charisma check.
Yeah.
Because these are, unlike Victor Smith, Winston Davison is not well equipped to interview blue collar people.
This is the what's that meme where the guy with an old guy with a skateboard and hello fellow kids. That's exactly what he does.
Hello, fellow workers.
But yeah, so he's going to try to at least get the information that they have and a date if they remember losing time, all that.
All right, yeah, so charisma check.
So my charisma, where is it? I was just looking at it. Okay, it's fair, and I just got mediocre, so fair.
Say with a fair, they kind of just blow you off. Like, you don't get much more information than you already had from listening in on them.
If I
They don't-
try to show them my cut, does that change anything?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, that's unfortunate.
You know, with that, you go back. Are you doing, I guess, since you're people watching, are you at a table or a booth? I think probably a booth would be the easiest way to get, like, in a corner.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So Maria comes in, Detective Maria, and let me find her stuff. So she's a bit younger than you, but not by a lot. She's pretty tough. She does have some scars. She worked in a bigger town before coming here. And she's never shaken a lot of those habits, and she's never gotten used to the fact that this town just doesn't have that much going on. So,
The fact that there are no coffee places open on Sundays gets to her.
no, because she's used to having the awful coffee that's at the station. She dumps the grounds into her mug, and she will chew on them.
That's gross.
She's, yeah, and she smokes. And she is smoking. She walks in. I think she's going to get a beer and a shot of vodka, dump the vodka in the beer, and walk over.
Okay. So as she approaches, a rough day at work.
She sort of grunts. It's paperwork. So what's this cut on your hand business?
So I give her the information about everything. I mean, I know that a lot of this has already been in email form, but I just explain again.
When you're talking to her, does Winston Davison focus on one thing when he's talking to someone? Is he just focused on them and trying to take in all their reactions or whatever? Or does he still have good situational awareness?
I would say that he probably doesn't. Like when he's focused in, he's focused in. And if that means that when he's talking with somebody, then he's focused on that.
Okay, make a perception check with that in mind then. Meaning you'll have to roll better.
So my perception is great. So, okay, I got a mediocre. So great.
All right, and basically I'm bumping you down by 1 just for being kind of unfocused.
Okay, so good.
So you hear ripping fabric before you then hear someone yell out in pain from the direction of the bathroom, the men's bathroom. And then moments later, as Detective Maria stands up, obviously, she's barely had anything to drink. She's still sharp. And turns to look. This guy staggers out of the bathroom, and he's got this collared shirt and jeans. And that collared shirt has, been ripped from right shoulder to the left pectoral, and there's a nasty cut running up that.
So a cut and then another cut going above?
No, there's just one cut. So it's going from his right shoulder to his left pectoral, and straight line, basically. Not like a perfectly straight line, but just, and that's torn his shirt along that cut.
Is he bleeding as well?
Yes, heavily.
Okay.
And so Maria's rushing over to apply first aid, and she wouldn't have any radio or anything for this. I think she'd just yell at the bartender to call an ambulance.
Okay. Well, I think I'd go over there and try to apply pressure to this cut that's on him, because I'm sure that's partially what she's doing. So,
yeah, that's one thing she's doing. If you do that, that frees her up to do more. So let's...
Yeah.
Make that an agility check, I think, because we've already established you more or less know what to do as far as this sort of thing goes.
Okay, so my agility is mediocre. I rolled a fair.
It's actually your worst. No, it's your second to worst stat.
I rolled a fair, so that puts me at fair. Yeah, because I was at mediocre, and it's a +2 that puts me on fair.
Yeah, so you're doing an okay job, and I'm trying to think what she would grab. Let's see, because you're holding it. She probably has EDC on her, so she'll grab some stuff off of. Let's see, I don't think she would have a belt pouch. She wears a jacket, so she'll have stuff in her jacket pockets. She'll start rolling some gauze, basically.
Right.
It's not great, but it's gonna keep him from dying.
Okay.
This is significantly worse than your cut was. Make a perception check while all this is happening,
Okay.
and a reasoning check.
Okay, so we'll start with the perception first. My perception is great. And I rolled a -1, so that puts me at good. And then what was the other roll?
Reasoning.
Okay, my reasoning's at good. Oh, and I got a -3, so that puts me at mediocre.
All right, so this cut, there's something off about it to you. Like, it doesn't look like he slipped and cut himself on like shard of glass, like the mirror broke or something, but you're just not putting together what happened.
Is there a chance that this person is part of the same group I tried approaching earlier?
Yeah, I don't think you need to make a roll for that. He is, yes.
Okay.
He's one of the people that was injured before.
I want to take a quick look around. Is that group of friends still here?
Yes, they're kind of freaked out, but they're not really sure what to do beyond the bartender's calling the ambulance, and they're sort of like awkwardly hovering around trying to make themselves useful.
But they're not trying to like leave.
Right. They're all worried about their buddy.
Right. Okay. So is this town small enough to where EMS response times are not the greatest thing in the world, or is it the opposite where
The EMS response time is still pretty good because this place was big enough to have its own hospital.
right?
It doesn't have the staff it used to, but there is still, you service a lot of much smaller towns. So you have probably the best time in your part of the state.
Okay. I think my character is going to focus on just trying to help Maria with however she needs to try to gauze him up, makeshift gauze him. And he wants to keep an eye on his friends as well, make sure that what he's thinking is with the added intimidation of Maria, that he might actually be able to get information out of them.
Okay, I'm trying to think of how to handle this.
Well, I mean, it'd just be an interview. Like, what did they see? Just having that cooperation of
Like, you're asking about what they saw right now?
what they saw right now, and then, if possible, to try to talk about their cuts from earlier.
So keep them together, get them onto the ambulance, and then you're gonna ask them questions, basically.
I don't know. That might be a little bit poor taste to do it in the ambulance.
Well, no, I'm saying like you get him into the ambulance. No reason for you to stay in the ambulance. Actually, I don't think they would let you stay in the ambulance because you don't know this guy.
Right. Yeah, I want to try to talk with them about what just happened. And I'm sure Maria would want to know about this, would want to be involved because this just happened literally out of blue in the bar.
Yeah, I think since you're talking to them, I think Maria's going to go check the bathroom where it happened.
Oh, that's right. It happened in the bathroom.
But you can talk to them, make a charisma check. It'll be easier because of everything.
Okay, so my charisma is fair. And I rolled a -1, so that puts me average.
But I think even average under these circumstances, you get more or less the same story that you got from the barista about it. You know, like I was walking past this and then I got this cut. But the one thing that sticks out from one of them is that he says, then, I'm out with my kid at the park and then he gets something like this too. And then he goes on to say, and then, I start hearing from all these other parents that their kids are getting it. And you get the impression that his kid was the first one to get this scrape out of the kids.
Okay. But the kid had never been near the
Kid was never near the construction site.
his incident happened only at the park.
Exactly, yes.
Okay. So I guess my guy's definitely at this point thinking like this is some kind of curse, or if it is a spirit that's kind of haunting and jumping from person to person. Before these guys leave, I just want to get a clear story about what happened in the bathroom from them, from their perspective.
I mean, from their perspective, their friend got up to go to the bathroom, and then
Oh, he was on his own.
so they weren't in the bath.
Was anybody else in the bathroom when this happened?
No.
Okay. How do I know that his son was more than likely the first to?
It's just because he basically says, like after that, then I started hearing about all the other parents that their kids were getting this. And before that, it's implied that before that he hadn't heard about anyone.
Okay. I'm going to ask for his contact information in case we have questions moving forward with this.
He gives you a home phone and then a work phone number. And the work phone number is he works for the local branch of a national bank,
Okay.
as does his friend. They all work there.
Okay. Where is this local branch?
Let's see, you've probably been there. So it's not by the mall, but it's in that same area, not too far from the construction site. It wouldn't be weird for them to walk past the construction site if they're just walking to try and get some air.
Okay. So the construction site in relation to where this bank is at, it would be a really common place to travel by car and walking.
Yeah, like they probably drive past it if they come from the right direction.
Right. Okay. Before I let them go, I want to ask them. I know this seems like a very odd question, but when you got the cuts, did you experience an odd loss of time?
I don't know. I mean, I was pretty zoned out. I was just, going for a walk after lunch, try and keep from falling asleep.
Okay. And your friend that just got hurt, was he in the bathroom for a long time or was it pretty quick?
It seemed fairly normal to me. I mean, hard to say. I don't time my friend's bathroom visits. So, yeah, I mean, I wasn't thinking, wow, he's taking a long time.
Right.
So,
Okay. No, that's fair. I appreciate you guys. Me and Maria will let you know if we need more questioning. I want to head over to the bathroom just to see what she's looking at.
I think she would have already had the bartender put in a call to have the cops head over. Like she's basically declaring it a crime scene. So she's not going to let you in the bathroom, but you can probably look in from the doorway
Uh-huh.
since she's not on shift.
Right.
She can't pull out her badge or anything, but I assume you know better than to test her.
Right.
So, it's pretty nasty. There's like blood spray across the mirror. Pretty typical bathroom setup, sink, mirror, stalls, urinals. So it looks like he must have been facing the mirror when this happened. The mirror is cracked in the center, but you hadn't gone into the bathroom yet, so you don't know if that's how it was already or not. And she doesn't go into the men's bathroom, so she also doesn't know.
Right.
So
Does she tell me that it's cracked?
you can see
I can see it.
from the doorway.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a big bathroom.
I think I'd go ahead and ask the bartender or an employee there, like, hey, was this cracked previously?
Let's see. Since you're kind of involved at this point, I don't think the bartender is going to need a role. So he says, no, the mirrors weren't cracked. Are they now?
Yeah.
So he just sort of marks that down. He goes, well, that's a damn shame. Not much he can say about that.
Right. Yeah.
He's just kind of like, I guess guy must have cut himself on that somehow.
Yeah, somehow.
Weird.
Very weird. Are other cops now involved, or is it still just Maria?
They haven't showed up yet, but they probably will soon enough.
Okay. And I'm assuming at this point, Maria is pretty much back in work mode. Like she's not really going to.
Yeah, she's not entertaining your spooky nonsense.
Right. Somebody just got cut themselves or whatever.
Yeah, and she doesn't believe in anything supernatural. So, more or less, she's going to get the information from you about what they can tell you about the guy, and that's about it.
Okay. Was there anything special about the guy? He's also a worker at the bank, right?
Yes.
Okay.
They're sort of mid-levels. They handle loans. They get to do approval for some loans, that sort of thing.
Okay. Well, that's good because I might decide to head over to that bank at some point to talk to people. So, well, I think the situation is pretty much under control, I think my character would probably back out now just because with Maria there, like you said, she's not going to entertain my ideas about stuff at this moment because she's doing real work. I think he's going to go ahead and head home, but he's going to be a little bit more cautious now. He's actually kind of concerned that maybe mirrors have something to do with this. And he's going to probably grab something like painter's tape and just mask off the mirrors and on his car as well, because he's like, well, this could be a potential for whatever this is.
Good old 9 p.m. Home Depot run.
Yeah. And so he's driving, but he's like turned all the mirrors so they're not useful. And he's doing his best not to look at any of them.
All right. And I think that is a great place to end it.
Hey everyone, we hope you enjoyed the 4th episode of Season 4 of the Die Again podcast. Winston Davitsen is now more paranoid after seeing the aftermath of the attack in the bar with Maria. Is there now a ticking clock on Winston's head? Find out next time. We at the Die Again podcast love hearing your thoughts, so drop your comments wherever you're tuning in from. Also, don't forget to follow us on X, Threads, and Blue Skies. Just search for Die Again podcast, all one word. See ya. So eventually this character's going to die just because of a fear of what this could be, and it'll be a bad driving rule.
That'd be pretty funny. It's just like you failed to turn on your blinker and your mirror wasn't aligned so you couldn't see, and you sideswiped this person who hit the gas instead of the brakes, and then you just got thrown off the road, and that was it.
And then eventually we get to find out what really happened here, but through the eyes of Victor Smith or something.
Be even better if Victor Smith just totally misreads the situation.